A person is in the hospital with critical injuries after Denver police say officers shot him this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Shocker. The shooting happened near Alameda and La Pan after a weapons call. That's where we find 9 News reporter Jeremy Hahola live. And Jeremy, the chief says the man pointed a weapon at officers, but how did this all begin?
Yeah, hi there, Sam. People this morning started calling police here in Alameda when they noticed a man was pointing a gun at passing vehicles as drivers were headed westbound here on Alameda. Police responded, and that's when they had a violent encounter with this suspect right in the parking lot here at a cannabis shop called All Pro Cannabis. Police tell us this began unfolding around 8:20 this morning when calls about a man with a gun started to come in. A few minutes later, about 10 police officers arrived on scene. The chief of police says the officers saw the man produce a gun. They fired a series of shots. Then about 5 minutes passed as the man continued to point his gun at police. They fired again, and that's when the man was hit. He has been rushed to the hospital. Here's what the chief of police said to news cameras this morning.
So it appears that maybe he was homeless. That's still yet to be verified. I don't know if there's some sort of mental health challenge that caused him to be pointing a weapon at passing vehicles. And then when the officers arrived, he then trained his weapon on those officers who, I think to protect themselves, fired at him, and then ultimately he was struck and put down.
And taking a live look at the scene right here, Denver police continue to process the evidence here along with outside agencies. You can see all those blue markers there in the parking lot. Looks like some of those markers may denote some bullet casings. So you can see a number of shots were fired here this morning. At last check, the man was taken to the hospital, underwent surgery, and at this point, police say he's still alive. This scene, though, remains under investigation, and it is standard protocol that outside agencies will come in during an officer-involved shooting like this and investigate, like the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. But in this meantime here, Alameda here at La Pan remains closed off indefinitely until this scene is done being processed. Back to you, Sam.
And Jeremy, we know this is early on in the investigation. As you learn more details, you will go ahead and give us that information. Thank you. Jeremy Hahola. Police in North Glen have their own shooting investigation right now. They say a man was seriously hurt after being shot inside a business near I-25 and 104th Avenue just after 10 last night. Police report 2 people left the scene, sparking a large search overnight, but it ended without any arrests. Call North Glen Police if you can help this case. There was a close call near the Rocky Mountain Arsenal last night. A little before 11, a South Adams fire crew was called to this scene at Highway 2 and 88th Avenue. Authorities say this car collided with a train that had stopped at a railroad crossing. All of the people in the car were able to get out without any injuries, but crews did not say what caused the vehicle to run into the train. Well, more rain has been forecasted for today, and getting a live look outside, it definitely looks like that will happen. Let's get the latest from Keely Chalmers with our 9 News Weather Impact team. Hey, we need the moisture, right, Keely?
Yeah, we definitely need the moisture. We're going to get anywhere from about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain, it looks like, in and around the metro area. Certainly a cooler start to the day. No more 90s like what we experienced last week. Temperatures topping out today in the low 70s. Our normal high for this time of the year is right around 86 degrees, so well below that. We've got clouds. If we take a live look out over Fort Morgan, we've got fog in some areas as we take a live look. Barely can see anything out over Holyoke, so a little bit of fog out across the eastern plains. We're just dealing with the clouds, and again, this afternoon we're going to be dealing with the potential for some heavy downpours after about, I'd say 2:30, 3 o'clock. That's when we should start expecting those. Temperatures right now still in the 60s in some areas around the metro area. We're right at 70 degrees here at 9 News. So current temperatures across the plains, 60s, 70s down across the southern plains, and pretty cool in the high country as well, 50s and 60s. Live radar, again, we're starting to track those showers and thunderstorms moving across the mountains right now. Salida, you're getting some activity, some stronger showers and storms, and we're going to continue to see that trend as those showers and storms slide off the high country. So 73 degrees degrees. That's our forecast high for the metro area, with those storms expected around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So again, a cooler, soggier week. We have below average temperatures, but we are drying out for the weekend. We'll talk more about that sogginess and that cool weather and the drier weekend coming up in your full forecast in just a bit.
Well, changes are coming to I-25 near Spear and 23rd Avenue, but CDOT wants to hear from the public first. CDOT is considering a plan that would redesign that busy interchange and replace some bridges that are getting old. Right now, 2 options are on the table. A 23rd Avenue braid, which would separate merging traffic and add bike lanes, or a Spear Boulevard diverging diamond designed to keep cars moving more smoothly with protected crossings. An open house starts at 4 at CDOT headquarters in Denver, and it will go until 7. Colorado lawmakers haven't filled the budget hole yet, but they passed several bills this weekend. One of them is a backup plan to cover Medicaid reimbursements for Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains says they see about 11,000 Medicaid patients in Colorado every year. They help them with healthcare services, from checkups to STI treatment to birth control. But the federal spending bill, signed by President Trump in July, stopped Medicaid payments to Planned Parenthood. This bill, Colorado lawmakers just passed, would allow state funding to cover Medicaid reimbursements that were previously done on a federal level.
We need funding to keep these healthcare centers open and floating above the red line. And by giving $4 million to a $1 billion industry, is telling the people of Colorado that we're just not making the cuts that we need, and we're not providing services to the people that really need them.
I ran this bill because when I had started and taken my first job and didn't have health care, I went to Planned Parenthood for a physical, for birth control, as well as other screenings that were just really important that I needed access to.
And right now, this issue is tied up in the courts. There is a preliminary injunction in place, and state money will only be spent if that injunction is eliminated. That money would also only go to reimburse Planned Parenthood for healthcare services, not for abortion. The so-called One Big Beautiful Bill passed in July also cut federal funding for food assistance, also known as SNAP. So this weekend, Colorado lawmakers passed a bill to put additional funding before voters. That funding question will be added to the ballot in November that's already asking Coloradans to continue funding meals at schools across the state.